This is Rick Rule for Rule Investment Media, sponsors of the 2024 Natural Resources Investment Symposium, held July 7 through 11 in Boca Raton, Florida, or held from the comfort and convenience of your own home via live stream. It's important that you understand that for the 4 days of the conference, we're going to present you between 50 and 60 hours of very intense, high-value programming. To that end, the conference will be recorded, including the breakout sessions. You can and should review the material several times so that you get all the value that you can out of that conference. Further to that end, we interview every conference speaker and exhibitor before the conference so that you can understand something about the value proposition that they offer up, learn more about the exhibitors so that you can contact them before the conference or at the conference. In other words, this is a way that you allocate your time and resources more efficiently. Note further that every public company at the conference has been vetted by me personally. I own shares in every public company sponsor at the event. While the fact that I own a share doesn't necessarily guarantee it goes up, it guarantees that unlike any other investment conference in the planet, that the exhibitors are vetted for your behalf. Today, in today's pre-conference interview, I interview Chris Showalter from Lifezone. Chris, thank you for your efforts on behalf of shareholders, and thank you too for your ongoing support and sponsorship of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. It's a pleasure to be here, and very much looking forward to the conference. So thank you again.
Let's talk by asking you to describe briefly the people who are involved in running the company and what they have done in the past that would give us some confidence that they are capable of bringing this asset, which we will also discuss later, to account.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks. So the key drivers behind Lifezone, the founder and the chairman, Keith Liddell, he worked very early on in the Mintech days with Dr. Mike Adams, and they were hydromet experts from a very early stage. So really solving problems for clients in the mining industry, and it was really a hydromet-driven angle that led them to form Lifezone. So Lifezone was really founded by specialists in the industry that had a really specific competitive advantage, identifying solutions to either difficult polymetallics that had nasty deleterious materials, or that were logistically constrained and very far from a smelter somewhere around the world. So that was really kind of the driving motivation. So we like to provide, we'd like to basically describe ourselves as being founded and really driven by people that had a technical expertise, and it was that technology, that hydromet expertise, that has allowed us to unlock new deposits for the industry. And then we've pulled in, since that early founding day, we've pulled in a number of, our team that you see on the management profile right now, bringing in people that have run projects. Our chief operating officer, Herrick Mouton, used to work with Robert Friedland at Ivanplatz. We've brought in Ingo Hoffmeyer, who was recently the CFO with SolGold. So we've really brought in a team of people like-minded to really drive the execution and really the commercialization of Lifezone, which is a hybrid of really technology and this flagship asset in Kabanga.
Chris, tell us something about the assets in Lifezone. In particular, if you can, for a lay audience, the technical assets, but more importantly, the Kabanga asset. Many people, myself frankly included, have tried to get control of that asset for 30 years. Somehow you all prevailed. Talk to us about the asset and how you prevailed.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Kabanga, we get this question lots, and the question is, so what happened with Kabanga? Like, why you guys, and kind of why is this, why Kabanga now? And I think it's important to look at the previous owners of Kabanga. So this has been through a variation, Sutton Resources, it's been in BHP's hands, Anglo's hands, and then most recently in Glencore and Barrick. And I think fundamentally where Kabanga was always kind of on standby was because this had to feed the furnaces in some other part of the world. So for Glencore specifically, when you look at what Glencore's model for this project was, they had to ship a heavy bulk concentrate from Western Tanzania they had to feed it into their operational footprint. So they had to get that concentrate to the coast, ship it to Sudbury, produce a smelter mat, get it to Nikkelverk in Norway, because that's where it was most useful to Glencore. Now, if you just rip that concept up and say, okay, what is the best economic scenario for Kabanga? Really, what exists is doing local beneficiation, local value addition, process it locally to maximize the value of the metal. And so, what we've been able to do with Kabanga is take an incredibly high grade premier asset and ore body, and really combine that with our hydrometallurgical know-how to produce a flow sheet and a fully vertically integrated operation on the ground in Tanzania. And I think that's what's really unlocked the project. And I think Kabanga in and of itself, this was identified by the UN Development Program, as you're aware, in the 1970s. And it is one of the highest grade nickel sulfide projects. So I think the time has come with the battery, the electric battery demand. Now it's the right time, it's the right asset, and these are the kind of high grade, super high quality assets that these are the kind of things that could develop at this point in time.
Let's talk about tonnage and grade, and let's talk about the documentation. Where are you? Are you at PEA, PFS? Where are you? How big is it? What is the grade?
Yeah, so going back historically, so if you look at where Kabanga was, this was going back to Barrick and Glencore. In 2014, they had a definitive feasibility study that was concluded, and that really established a 3.1% nickel equivalent, 2.6% nickel, which is obviously at the higher range of the nickel sulfide deposits you see globally. And what we've done is we've updated that since. So right now we have announced, I think we announced this in early November. So we did a updated drilling program, infill drilling program, where we announced, and again, this is attributable to Lifezone because of the SK 1300. So 43.6 million tons, grading 2.02% nickel, 0.28% copper, and 0.16% cobalt. So we were able to go up quite meaningfully in tonnage. What we did specifically is we were able to mix in the disseminated sulfides, which was unsmeltable. So this is another example of where we were able to take more tonnage onto our resource statement because it was removed because of the constraints of going into a smelter. So we've demonstrated that we have the capability to go to a larger mine size. So the previous mine size on the previous DFS was 2.2 million tons. We're looking at a phase 1.4 and going up to another 1.4. 3.4 total. So 1.7, 1.7 in two phases. So this infill drilling and this increasing the resource statement has given us the capability to go bigger. And that's something that the partnership with BHP, that was a fundamental driver, is looking at, what is the capacity of this ore body. And I think the good thing about Kabanga is it's got, there's plenty of nickel there. And so we were able to easily demonstrate the capability to go bigger.
In development stage projects, I've found that interim share price escalation is a function of answering unanswered questions. Being able to develop a thesis with increasing accuracy, what would you describe in the next 12 to 18 months as the key step in answering unanswered questions and therefore increasing the investment community's knowledge around the deposit? Or put in simple English, what are the catalysts in the next 12 to 18 months that shareholders can look forward to?
Yeah, so two very definitive, very important catalysts. Number one, we have announced publicly that we are negotiating with an offtake agreement with several competing parties. So we will be coming out and announcing an offtake agreement in the near term, and that will be that's something that we have, a process we started last year, but that will be a capital injection through placement of our 40% of the offtake rights. So BHP right now controls 60% and Lifezone controls 40%. So that's going to be a material catalyst in the near term for us. And then the main catalyst really is going to be the conclusion of the definitive feasibility study for both the mine and the refinery, which is on time, on track for conclusion end of September, end of Q3 this year. That's really where the bulk of our efforts and management's time have been focused, and that's a very collaborative effort with BHP as well. So a really good collaborative effort with DRA, who's doing all the engineering and design work as the independent, BHP and ourselves. And so we will be announcing those results into Q3. So offtake agreement and conclusion of DFS. Those are the two key deliverables that we have determined to stay on time and announce to the market here.
Perfect answer, Chris. To the extent that our attendees would like to know more, who specifically at the company can they be in touch with, and how can they reach this person?
Yeah, thanks. So, look, for interested investors, I mean, there's no more favorite topic of mine. So I'm happy to speak to anyone, especially in anticipation of your conference. So I can be reached very easily through the website, lifezonemetals.com, through the information portal there. And myself, and then also Evan Young, who's our head of investor relations, will be a contact as well. So both of us will be available and can be easily reached through the main contact point on the website.
Chris, thank you for your efforts on behalf of shareholders. Personally, of course, thank you for your efforts on my behalf. But thank you, too, for your support and sponsorship of the Natural Resources Investment Symposium. I look forward to hosting you in Boca Raton.
Excellent. Look forward to being there, Rick. Thanks again.